Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Paper Straw Podcast. I'll be your host for today, Christian Tejares, and with me is my co-host, Christopher the Non-Stopper, the king of the conversations and jovial banter. He believes in live and let die, the great Christopher Anthony Short. And with us also, the exalted emperor of the Empire of Eccentricities, host of the Intrepid Podcast, Mr. Ian Joseph Rignon. How are you guys?
So what's up? I'm good. How's everything going?
Hey, I'm
Yeah,
good too. Yeah,
this is a
thanks.
good schedule for us. It's not that hot.
Oh
Hmm.
yeah, just
Every
so
once in a while,
happens.
we can do this.
Yeah, just so happens that uh you know it's uh it's right about sleeping you know sleeping time on my place, but we can do this once in a while
Yeah,
Yeah.
Chris, you don't have
Yeah.
any neighbors to bother, right?
No.
No, for now.
because you don't have neighbors.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I live in a kind of it's almost empty. Like there's a lady that lives here. I think there's some people that live over there. There's nobody that lives here until way down there. It's all open.
Yeah, like it's like a retirement home.
Kind of, yeah. Where most people have already died.
Mm,
Mm.
yeah,
Happy Halloween, everyone.
Yeah.
happy
Advance.
Halloween.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Ian, you've been to an event this morning. How was it? Can you tell
Oh
our
yeah,
audience about it?
oh yeah, of course. I will also be writing it after this after recording this podcast. It's about disaster resilience. I think it's held on the sidelines of this week's major event. I'm not sure of the name of the event, but I think it's more of the Asia Pacific Ministerial Conference on climate. I'm not sure if it's climate or resilience or disaster risk reduction. I think it's basically the event that the main event is in PICC or the Philippine
Yeah.
International Convention Center, and the sideline of it is in SM Mall of Asia, where Environment Secretary um Loizaga, not sure of the first name, but the Environment Secretary of the Philippines and one of the top um UN officials on climate and disaster resilience attended. And there are also delegates who also peeled off from the PICC and uh, went to MOA or Mall of Asia because there is this exhibit, uh, and that's basically what I covered the opening of that exhibit.
Is this gonna be a yearly event or is this just a one-time thing?
I'm not sure if it is a yearly event, but um, I'm definitely sure that this is a constant thing, but it's not necessarily every year in the Philippines. It's every year, but perhaps it's another
Mm.
country that would
Yeah.
host it. I'm not sure. I mean, the ASEAN summit and the APEC summit are always held in different places around the region.
Yeah, and the content for that can be seen on the uh, Paper Straw Media website. So everyone, please check it out when you have the time. Ian covered just this morning. Uh, Also, I would like to advise everyone, encourage them, encourage you guys to actually like, subscribe, share. It would
Don't
really
forget to
help
ring the
us.
bell.
Don't forget to ring the notification. It would really help us to sustain the channel and a bit of motivation for the rest of us to actually continue. Now, moving forward with this podcast, like I want your opinion on this because this has been at the back of my mind for quite some time now. Like there have been issues or people are certain people actually, I guess it was just a couple of years ago when AI actually
Mm.
was brought to the forefront. Like there are scares regarding people losing jobs, economy being taken over by AI, creatives being run over. Like, have you guys seen any shift regarding this?
You
Um,
first, Chris.
not to the extent that I think was being uh, kind of projected, right? It's been a couple years. Things are I've seen it incorporated in a lot of places. Um, it's become a bigger part of my daily routine. I don't really Google anything anymore. I just ask ChatGPT, or my phone is now, speaking of integrated, my phone updated a few months or weeks ago, maybe. And like the Hey Google thing, uh, yeah, it changed to Samsung's AI. So it's no longer Google's version of Siri. Now it's an AI powered something. But
Yeah.
I don't
And
see it.
Ian, as a content creator, do you think this changes anything for us? Like, the thing about that is creators usually send mixed messages when it comes to these things. Like, for instance, companies actually make it a criteria to put original content at the forefront, but there are some that actually use AI and have been private about it.
Mm. Yeah, that's a very good question actually, because quite honestly, I am also affected by this significantly. Uh, I don't want to go on details, but suffice it to say that you know, the reason why I am part of this podcast is because uh something work related happened, and it's still being sorted out as we speak. And uh quite honestly, there is a possibility that it could be integrated in everyday work. But uh given that it had a lot of impact on creative jobs, uh and I think the summit, or the apex of it, is the WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes Hollywood last year. I guess uh and also the recent revelation that OpenAI and Sam Altman uh having to change their stance regarding how AI is used, and given the shakeup in their company as well this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is very much interconnected with each other.
Yeah, the SAG-AFTRA thing is usually about the copyright, right? The ownership of one's likeness being used by a corporation or company without by forcing the owner to actually surrender the ownership of the likeness due to AI. The thing about that is every now and then, when it comes to technology, there's always a shift, but that shift is usually felt like when the telephone operators are actually phased out. It was sudden. Everyone actually adopted it immediately, right? We no longer see phone booths. So I wonder how Superman actually changes now. So like,
Yeah.
I figured he'd be using a janitor's closet, but no, I think
Yeah,
that's Batman, right?
I think he runs into a phone
Into a
store
brick
now.
wall and changes mid crash.
I was saying into
But
a into a phone store, like he's over by the phone cases, like, or I guess he does this number now.
Yeah, but when it comes
but
to
I guess
AI, yeah, when it comes to AI, the adoption of it, like everyone actually is wary of it, but not to the extent of some changes actually being drastic. Like if you take the case of like there's a lot of contradictions like in terms of the US elections, the platforms of the two candidates. AI is I think one of the things that they actually agree upon. or agree on. Like
Hmm.
in terms of we accept this, we want this to actually flourish. This is our age right now. But then again, when you look at Trump and his previous campaign, he wants to bring jobs back to the US,
Right.
to
Yeah.
Americans. And there hasn't been that much clamoring for AI experts when it comes to the generation of content. In the digital space, in terms of art, there's been a witch hunt regarding artists. It doesn't matter if it's an original content for some. Once someone actually points out that it must be AI, everyone is in agreement of it.
Mm,
And it's
yeah.
a scary thing.
Yeah.
So
It's so scary that even Pope Francis uh is uh putting his Zucchetto on the ring because he doesn't wear hats like his predecessor Pope Benedict XVI. So I guess
Hmm.
his Zucchetto, the skull cap. So he's putting his skull cap on the ring and having his own sentiments regarding AI. It's that serious.
so when do you think, guys, there will be a full integration within our, let's just concentrate on our industry, the content space. When do you think will there be a full integration when it comes to the creation of content?
I don't think a full integration will happen until the generation that is right now, I would maybe say, let's say 7 or 8 and younger, right? Because there will be pushback from the the largest consumer group in the world, right? The 20s to 50-year olds, right? We're not ready for, or it's not that we're not ready. We're not, I don't think for the majority of us, we're not open to handing over this creative entertainment factor in our lives. But this newer the youngest generation, I don't know what generation they are.
Gen Alpha, I think.
I mean, even younger. I think Gen Alpha is around 10, 12, 13 years old right now. Like even younger than those. They will be in a world where AI has been there forever. So they're not going to have the same bias that we have. That's when I think we'll see a full integration. Now, that's not to say we're not going to see a large portion be integrated, but full, I think it's going to take a couple generations before once these kids become consumers, that's when the AI revolution will take full effect, I think.
Mhm.
In terms of the type of content that kids are actually consuming, do you think it would matter to them? Considering that now they can actually, they're more sycophantic right now rather than discerning when it comes to the content they consume.
Right.
Do you think they
Well,
would care?
Yeah.
that's the thing. I don't think they would care. Uh, the the Fortnite kids right now may not care as much as we do, but I think they still have an appreciation for original human-made content.
Mhm.
Whereas the kids after them are not going to give a shit really because everything's been AI since as long as they can remember, AI has been part of their world.
Basically, for those kids in the future, uh, the Minecraft kids, basically right around my own generation, are the ones that are, let's just say, the last of the old fashioned guys. Those who still value personal connection to
Hmm.
creation or to create creative content, and perhaps uh not really pushback, but more of a responsible use of AI, wherein AI is actually subservient to human intelligence.
Yeah, in terms of the use of AI, do you think companies if I'm gonna be citing an example, like the previous company that we've been in, with the lack of skill that they have, like I'm burning bridges right here, right now. But I'm trying to prove a point here. Do you think AI would actually be a crutch for them to actually stand on if they integrate it with their business, or is there still a level of human intelligence that's actually needed just to assist AI to actually function?
Well, they kicked us all out. We should have
Yeah,
we
thankfully.
we would have been helping them if they were smart enough.
Like pushing us out of a burning building is, I think, the lesser evil that they could have done.
Perhaps, perhaps that's I guess that's a different way of seeing it.
Yeah, whoever you guys are, peace be with you. It's almost Christmas.
Mm,
Merry Christmas.
it is almost Christmas. I can't believe it's the fourth quarter of 2024.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's crazy.
We're
Yeah,
now
there's
halfway. We're 15
there's still
days.
there's still time for the PDF files to actually be exposed. Who's next?
Yeah, we already have Doctor Disrespect. We
Like
have
how many has there
Eva Chris
been?
Tyson,
Like for that one, you
um,
didn't actually need AI.
Cody
Mm,
Ko. Who else? I don't know who are the other guys, but the ones that I remember at the top of my head are these three: Doctor Disrespect, Cody Ko, Eva Chris Tyson, yeah, and all the other
Because
guys.
yeah, going back to this, like the thing that scares me about AI is actually not losing out on jobs. The thing is, have you guys watched Wally?
yeah.
I've heard of it, yeah,
Yeah, because
but
of
I
the
haven't watched it in
advancement.
full.
Yeah, because of the advancements of their age,
Mm,
people have become fat because of lack of exercise, lack of movement.
mm.
Is there any possibility that the human mind is going to be that way due to the lack of use by being dependent on AI?
Yeah,
Human
Mm,
creativity,
there's
human intelligence, human curiosity, number one,
yeah.
is going to be damaged because of it.
yeah, there's this there are eerie similarities to be honest with you guys. There are eerie similarities. The fact that the bones of the people or the characters in Wally are less denser than ours at this point in
Mhm.
time just goes to show that yeah, it's um there's some kind of degenerative side effect uh of these kinds of technologies.
Yeah, because I don't think if you remember this, Chris, because I think a couple, I don't know if which version of us reported on this. We reported on AI podcasting, right? Was this,
Mhm. Dudesy, is that what you're talking about?
I think even before that, I think it was during our Tech Talks era that we actually mentioned this,
Mm,
that we tried
can't
cover.
I can't remember right off.
Remember? If someone actually tried it, but the doozy stuff is actually example, but there is still
Mhm.
some human factor playing on it. Like they could easily not follow it, but then again,
Right.
human better judgment actually didn't get the best of them
Yeah.
in their choices
Yeah.
Yeah.
with the Carlin thing.
Yeah, that whole thing, but they've been very quiet since then.
when
I
you
haven't heard anything from Dudesy.
when the Godfather of stand-up's estate actually tries to
Yeah.
sue you, and you're a comedian yourself, you get to rethink your choices.
Right.
Yeah, but the other thing is podcasting going to be invaded by artificial intelligence? How soon can that happen?
I mean, it's already prevalent in music, right? It's already
Yeah, but
been
we're putting music as an art form and podcasting as a similar art form. If you think about it,
I
yeah.
mean, you know, we know firsthand like the the creativity that it requires to podcast, right? Like we can't just come on here. Like you have to be somewhat creative. And I would imagine it's like using a different part of the brain, right? Like to be an effective and entertaining podcaster is like it's a different part of the brain than like being an entertaining, singer or dancer. Right, but I would say it requires a level of creativity and personality too, right? Like you can be a great singer if you have zero personality, zero stage presence,
Yeah.
you're not going to go anywhere.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's only born through practice, which AI has a lot of time for.
Right.
Yeah.
It would be nice to
The
actually watch a podcast where AI actually criticizes AI. Like that shows an extreme growth because us humans actually criticize ourselves.
basically
That's
it's
a that's a that's a
the
major
AI version of
development.
the yeah, the basically the AI version of Descartes. I think therefore I am.
Right.
Yeah, so AI acceptance within companies in terms of employment, would this make a dent in the workforce?
For
Because
some
I
industries,
haven't
yes.
which
Uh you know, uh the media industry, that's for one. I mean, as we all know, the WGA strike, which was supported by SAG-AFTRA, that's
yeah
one of the major impacts
yeah
when it comes to AI. But
SAG-AFTRA, and we got the Borderland movies out of it.
yeah,
Hmm.
that that just kind of sucks if you ask me.
You can't
Both
tell me any
ways.
different that the AI
It
didn't
cuts both
actually write
ways.
that script.
Yeah, cuts both ways though. Yeah. And then uh I guess the second one is the tech sector, or the tech manufacturing, the ones that create semiconductors. I think
Hmm.
that's a very that's also a very good, or not really a very good prospect, but a very influential that is where AI is very much influential in that kind of industry. I mean, Nvidia, Nvidia and Jensen Huang has been
Yeah,
uh has been trying to incorporate AI in their semiconductors and their chips, that even Elon Musk is buying Nvidia chips for his own AI shit.
but isn't Elon Musk uh among the people who are actually against the use of AI, or at least the
He
propagation of it early on?
yeah, he's uh how do you describe, like he's not really an AI alarmist. He's more of a like a
Pragmatist.
well, he's like the devil and the angel, you know what I mean? He's kind of like the one that's like, hey man, are you sure that this is a great idea? Like we need to, because ChatGPT came out, it's just kind of like, hey guys, look at this, right? There was no like real build up to it.
Let's remember, before he had XAI, Elon Musk was one of the founders of OpenAI with Sam
Yeah,
Altman. And
yeah,
then there's a falling off between Altman and Musk, and then there's some kind of beef, and all hell broke loose. Shit hit the fan in the AI community, or in the AI industry, because all of a sudden Elon Musk is having his own AI company. Some rich tech dude is making another AI company. Jensen Huang is uh you know aligning Nvidia to make AI compatible chips, and so on and so forth.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but sometimes it just feels like Elon is actually looking for the cure before the illness.
Perhaps, I mean,
Yeah. I
he's
mean, it's
doing
good
it
to be,
there.
it's good to be proactive, I guess. Speaking of Elon Musk, did y'all see what happened today?
What?
Well, not really today, but over the weekend.
Was it over the weekend?
Yeah, it was a Sunday in in the US.
Well, yeah, well, this morning then here.
Yeah,
He
I
landed, they landed there's the first
soup.
attempt.
Yeah.
First attempt is crazy.
Yeah. They nailed it on
Land,
the first
yeah,
try.
on the first try, they nailed it. And it was the first time that a rocket booster was successfully returned. Because for years and years and years, NASA just
Yeah,
dumps those things in the ocean.
there
Yeah.
must be a billion of them
I mean,
underneath feeding fishes
Well,
yeah.
or housing fishes.
well, technically, SpaceX has already done that with Falcon 9. The reason why it's the first time, it's for Starship's Super Heavy booster, the first stage of the Starship rocket system.
Right.
Um, you've already, I actually have written that for Paper Straw Media too. We'll link it in the description below. And yeah, it's basically, um, let's just say, small skyscraper around 6 to 10 stories tall. That's how tall or how big this super heavy booster is.
Mhm.
And in the first 4 tries, they have failed to do so. But SpaceX said that uh, they believe in this mantra called mantra fail fast, fail often, so that they can iterate much quicker and make their products or their vehicles much better. And after 5 freaking flights, a super heavy booster stuck the landing. Well, it didn't stuck the landing, but uh the robotic arms called the Mechazilla was able to catch the whole damn thing.
I can't imagine Elon Musk using space rocket boosters like 50 cal magazines, like just shooting every one of them, like fail fast, shooting them out in rapid succession. Like,
Yeah.
But
Well,
I think
yeah.
something that is interesting is the amount of, because like I've seen a bunch of posts on um X and Instagram, like it's all over the place, right? Like it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Um
It is all over the
and
place.
the amount of people, and this is 100% because uh of Elon's political standing at this point. But
he's
Yeah.
the
pro
number
Trump,
of,
right?
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
he's about to get a job in the White House.
huh. Oh my god.
Cost cutting. Yeah, he's going to be put in charge of cost cutting, which is what the government needs. Because the government, okay, tangent. As you guys know, politicians, it's probably even more so true here in the Philippines. For these legacy politicians, they don't know anything about budgeting. They're basically, they have bottomless bank accounts.
Yeah, tell that to the city of Manila.
You know what I
They're
mean? But
having a
like,
field day right now.
but they don't comprehend, like, let's so in the US, right? They gave out all this money during the pandemic. They send all this money to Ukraine, they send all this money to Lebanon. It's like they don't understand basic finance, that the more government spending, the higher inflation goes.
I think here in the
So,
Philippines, we've had legacy so long that
mhm,
we've gotten used to navigating it. You know what I mean?
right.
Yeah.
In
We're
terms
having
of,
loopholes upon loopholes upon
yeah,
loopholes.
legacy politicians here managed to bridge the gap between illegal and legal, and still
Right.
get reelected. Like,
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
But
well,
my point was, like, a president or a businessman is president, and then you're going to have the richest man in the world given the
One
day.
of.
Yeah. In charge of making sure the government doesn't overspend. Like, these are things that, because I've always said this, I think because America is so big and so powerful, and the GDP is so much, and we do so much trade, it doesn't need to be ran the same way as Canada or even, England, right? It needs to be ran like a business because it basically essentially is a business. The difference is if America, the business, is booming, the rest of the world is also doing pretty good. There's
Yeah, I
not
would
really
hope
many other
so.
countries that are like that.
Yeah, I would hope so. All the other world's currencies are being slapped against the dollar. If you think about it.
Right.
Yeah.
So why shouldn't it be uh the dollar, or at least the US, in terms of spending, be fiscally sound to ensure balance in everyone's currencies?
Mm.
Right. My thing with
Right.
that is, and my question to you, Chris, is do you think Trump had learned his lesson regarding hiring within the family?
Um, no, because I think he has the utmost confidence in his family and children. Yeah. Uh, I don't see him ever straying away from that mentality.
Even Eric Short Bus Trump,
Even who?
even Eric.
Eric Trump. Wait, he's the younger one, right? Don Jr. than Eric.
Yeah, Dumb and
Um,
Dumber.
yeah, well, I don't know. I doubt he's going to stray from that mentality. I just don't think he will.
Not one of his kids actually. It's not genetic to actually catch someone's charisma, right?
Right.
I figured if anything regarding Trump in terms of intelligence as a businessman, that's questionable. But his whole entire campaign policy is just based on his riz at this point, because there are, but as I said, there's a bunch of similarities between his policy and Kamala. He's just good at attacking the opposition. That's it.
Kamala
Which
has
is
no policies.
it's pretty similar. It looks like she doesn't have any policies because Trump is actually really good at bringing forward his own. Makes it look
No,
like she's actually just standing still.
I'm telling you, she has none. Every time she's asked about economic policies, well, I was born in a middle class family, and my mother did this, but she never says like, we're going to do this. We're going to like one of her plans is to build 3 million houses. Well, we need 4 million houses. So just right there, immediately, it's like, what? Like build all. If you're going to build three-fourths, build all of them. And then she talks about what's the other one that she wants to do? Some other ridiculous shit like I can't think of it right now, but it's basically she wants to give um first time homeowners uh tax breaks, but there's a lot of underlying like conditions which basically eliminates you if you're an American citizen.
Mm.
Hmm.
So it's basically a housing plan for illegal immigrants.
I see.
It's like you have to make less than this much. There's a bunch of little things before you can qualify, and it essentially eliminates most Americans.
With these
Mm.
two candidates, and both of them having the same stance regarding AI, who do you think is going to do a 180 first regarding it?
Trump.
Mm.
Why do you think so?
I think well, first he's got Elon really close to Elon. I think he'll be easily influenced by Elon. Um,
Come
It's
to think of
such
it,
a
Elon Musk has also rubbed shoulders with the Argentinian president Javier Milei, and Javier Milei is a lib is I think he's a libertarian, and he's also into economic reforms. He's been shitted on for that, but a lot of people also support him for all of that. He's basically the Trump of Argentina.
Yeah, and
I
Trump was
think
a liberal.
he,
Trump was a liberal before, right?
yeah, he was a
Like
Democrat
people
before
tend to
Obama.
forget it.
Yeah, he was a lifelong Democrat. But the party shifted. The party is now my family, my grandfather, lifelong
Yeah.
Democrat, switched with Trump. The parties have shifted in this way where liberal now means you fully support the most asinine of ideas. Right? Double mastectomies for 12-year-old girls. Right? That's insane. I mean, I think we can all agree that's crazy talk. Puberty
Yeah.
blockers for children. And not only that, they have these rules where the school doesn't have to inform the parents that their child wants to. That's bananas.
Mm.
But they support. It's like, oh, you have the right. They support trans women in women's bathrooms. I don't have an issue with trans people. I have an issue with wackadoodle dudes taking advantage of this thing. Right? There's some fucking cycles out there that do take advantage. And
I
conservatives
think
have
there's also
moved to more of the free speech, little government. Like the parties have completely almost swapped places.
polarized, and they have polarized, if I'm not mistaken, Chris.
Yeah, everything's fucking left or right. There really is no middle anymore.
Yeah, this seems
Yeah.
to be a Freaky Friday decade, right? In terms
It's
of
crazy.
politics.
Freaky Friday. Oh boy. Yeah.
Well,
It's still a Monday, but it's we're talking about a Freaky Friday situation like that.
like in terms of the crazies in politics, you could easily gauge which one is actually being going a different path than they were before on the amount of jokes about them,
Mm,
right?
Oh yeah.
If you
yeah,
base your judgment regarding how sane they are, I think the barometer could be either Bill Burr or these classic stand-up comedians that don't usually dig that much into politics, but now have an opinion on it.
right.
Yeah.
It
Because
wasn't usually the case.
yeah, because political jokes or politics based jokes previously reside on, I guess, memes. It all started with memes, and then
Yeah.
you know you
Yeah.
know it it spilled through to the stand up comedy, or
Actually, speaking of,
perhaps it's a cycle though.
it is a lot of cycle. Actually, just this past Saturday night on SNL, um, they roasted the shit out of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, which doesn't happen on SNL. SNL is very liberal, very left leaning.
Very
Trump is
donkey.
oh, Trump is open game. They don't talk shit about Democrats. They did on Saturday, and they went in pretty hard on like a Steve Harvey Family Feud
Yeah.
sketch.
Uh-huh.
What? All of a sudden they received their fiscal report regarding their DEIs?
I mean, it's strange. Joe Biden for 3.5 years was a walking SNL sketch, a
Yeah, there's
walking
not much
sketch.
difference between him and Alec Baldwin at that time.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
and but they never touched it,
Mm.
which is odd. And now, for some reason,
Yeah, it became
2 weeks,
fashionable to actually shit on the Democrats now,
yeah, became fashionable.
right?
Well, you know, I think the only difference Joe Biden has, or Rodrigo Duterte has with Joe Biden is that, uh, to be fair to him, Duterte is uh, still a bit uh clear on his mind, or he still has some kind of clarity on his mind. Joe Biden,
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, still pissed off regarding the Duterte stuff and John Oliver's coverage of it, like him saying that this is a dictator. Do dictators actually leave voluntarily after an election
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
actually submit that they
yeah.
won't actually be running for another term?
Well, technically,
They only have one term here in the Philippines for a president, but if you're a
yeah,
dictator, you're not leaving.
yeah, you're gonna have to find ways to
And
to maintain your turf. And Davao City is basically Dutertopolis. Dutertopolis. If I say that myself.
yeah,
Yeah, Duterte was an interesting moment in time.
yeah, everyone had an
As
It
opinion.
certainly is.
as an outsider looking in, um, I feel like I have a kind of a unique perspective because I can see where he's coming from. Because I mean, the reason I say I have a unique perspective is because my family and friends weren't likely or possibly going to be murdered by the police.
Yeah,
Right. So I can say these things.
Mhm.
Whereas, for you guys or other people that, it's like you have extended families, right? You have cousins. Probably everyone has someone in their family that may or may not dabble in the not so legal.
in the
Yeah.
occult.
Yeah.
Well, not
So
necessarily
obviously,
the cult thing, not necessarily on the thing that uh Apollo Kibuloy is being accused about, but yeah, the other below the board stuff.
Yeah, my thing with
right.
this is, and I think this is applicable to every country. If you have a drug problem in your country, let's say in the US, you
Oh,
can actually equate that as being the same with our country on how
True.
the
That's
severity of
100%
it.
correct.
There's a difference when it comes to approach to these things. What might work for you? And there is really no evidence that it's working in the US, considering
No,
what's
too many
being pointed out in the news,
too many people get rich for it to ever work in the US.
right? So,
You would in order for it to work, you need a man who absolutely hates it and doesn't give up what anybody thinks and does whatever he can as commander in chief to stop it. And that's exactly what Duterte did.
yeah, at one point in time, I wish these researchers for John Oliver and the rest of the late night hosts actually go to the country they're reporting on and stay here
Yeah.
for 6 months before
Yeah.
opening an episode
Yeah. Hang
and
out in
see
at most,
Tondo or fucking somebody
right?
or somewhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Ermita,
living here just a couple of
Malapasi.
months, they would understand.
Go go rent an apartment in the Pendan for about 6 months and you'll be like, oh, this shit is wild.
Because
And
everything that's
buy
being
something
reported,
and leave it outside.
because as far as the Philippines is concerned, regarding our participation in the world stage, the
Hmm.
only I can guarantee this, the only knowledge of other countries regarding us are what they see in travel blogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's basically why Christian and I are here, because there is more to that. And we wanted
Hmm.
to, we wanted to not really reveal, but more like complement everything that the other people uh have been talking about on their own
I love that
content.
we started with AI and actually ended up with Duterte.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a very, very,
And
very
another,
far tangent.
but
Tangent.
if we're gonna go in that direction, if you consider AI here in the Philippines, not much chatter regarding it. Not as prevalent as other countries.
Yeah, I
Right.
can also sense that um most Filipinos do not give a shit about it.
Yeah, the majority of the Filipinos are actually scared of it or getting news from outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had an argument a couple years ago on Facebook with a guy I served in the military with because I I made a post uh about this was during the pandemic, right? So Tiger King, I made this post on Facebook. I could probably go back and find it, but I'm not going to. And it was just kind of being funny, right? Like I was just saying, this year's crazy. Like we got Tiger Kings, we got I can't remember what else, but I did say, or no, I said that I'm happy that I left the United States because we have cities are on fire, we got Tiger Kings, we had all these
George
things that was
Floyd.
all these things were happening in the US. And my post was basically saying that I'm kind of glad I left. This dude jumps on there and he's like, I work with a Filipino woman. She tells me that the president's killing people. And I was like, first off, she's in Washington State, so she don't really know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then he blocked me. We had like this long argument in the comments, and then he blocked me. And we were friends for years. And it had nothing to do with him, but his Filipino colleague was like, the Philippines is horrible. I don't find it horrible. I
Yeah,
wouldn't have been
home.
here so long.
Hmm.
Yeah, home is where you make it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
If you think it's horrible, then fine. But
I
don't
think
judge it before you even visit it, or at least try to look into it.
I think it's unfair to say any place is horrible, unless of course it's like, torn apart by civil war, then obviously. But
Hmm.
but you can't take your narrow-minded view of, this one thing is happening. There's so much other great shit that's happening. Like if you're, I don't know, let's say you hate K-pop, right? Let's say you hate music. Then you'd be like, Korea is a shit country because they just play, bro, there's so much more there than music.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
to
mean,
all our Korean audiences, we don't hate K-pop. We love it.
yeah,
No, I mean it's all
yeah.
right.
We love it.
I
I won't
mean,
turn it up. I won't
uh,
turn it off, but I won't turn it up.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
we're good.
let them listen to K-pop. That's their thing. And you know what? For this, for old time's sake, you know, uh, I guess, we'll let the Koreans do their thing because they've been doing so well after both the United States and the Philippines helped them during the Korean War in the 1950s. So, yeah, it's not a free pass, but let's live and let live.
Do I hear bitterness?
Live and let.
Not really bitterness, but
Chris is live and let
um,
die. Like again, with AI thing, like there is some news regarding Gavin Newsom wanting stricter rules regarding it. I think it's a fair ask if you think about it, considering that the AI is being used as a tool for deepfakes and pornography, right? Like we
Mm,
oh,
reported on this before, Chris,
oh yeah,
during some of our episodes.
yeah,
Like I think that's when the acceptance is actually going to be visible, when certain rules are actually set regarding it. Right now, it's a free for all.
yeah.
Like
Sooner or later, someone has to put their foot down on things.
I don't even know if copyright laws are actually solidly made. Just even there in the U.S., much more here in the Philippines. Do we have copyright laws regarding AI here in the Philippines, Ian?
I don't think
mm,
so. I mean, there's the intellectual property code, Philippines, but I'm not sure for sure AI is not yet integrated on it, or there are no amendments where AI is included.
Yeah, because the
But
Creative Commons license, correct me if I'm wrong, it's all from derivative works, right? If you're in a creative license.
mm,
But what about
and
AI using derivative works from others? Does it fall under Creative Commons?
yeah, that's a very good question. Where there are no lawyers
Yeah,
in
any
this
copyright
podcast.
law experts, please
Hmm.
add in the comments an answer to this. Like we're
Yeah.
not we're not peddling ourselves to be experts
Mhm.
here. We actually need your help to answer this. This I think a lot of people would love answered, particularly in the
Yeah.
yeah,
content creation space, because It is true that AI, yeah, it's a shortcut, but sometimes you need shortcuts to actually finish something that's so mundane.
But yeah, as I said, if there are any lawyers in the watching this, please give us your thoughts regarding this matter in the comments. We definitely will appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Ian, for you, this question
Sure.
is there any particular changes do you think that would happen to the Philippines once AI actually ramps up here? Consider if you take into consideration the type of industries that are mostly at the forefront for us is usually the BPOs.
Mhm. Yeah. For sure, the outsourcing industry, whether it's business based or knowledge based or data based or content based, all of that would be affected. All of that would definitely be uh hit right where it hurts. Uh, I to give you an anecdote. There is this there's this neighbor of ours who happened to be my mother's who happened to be living in the same town as my mother when they were both girls back in the 1960s and 70s. uh she got a house near us, and one of her children was working in the BPO industry. I think it's in IT or something. And then automation was integrated in their in what they do, and eventually he became redundant, and I really hope that he's having or he got a job now at the very least. So that's that. So yeah, to answer your question, Christian, it's gonna hit hard on the BPO industry. That's for sure, and not just there. It's also going to hit as we all discern the media industry, but also uh uh education, because while um while AI can definitely help people to uh gain and access knowledge, we don't know if that is even true.
Yeah. Yeah. If for you, Chris, my question is this. With the sudden integration of AI in the industries there in the US, would it actually discourage the US from actually outsourcing manpower in the content field from countries like the Philippines, from India?
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, there's the obvious reason why they outsource to these places. It saves money. Um, so I mean, if you can shift from saving money to spending no money, then why wouldn't you? I wouldn't be surprised if okay. I want to refer to humans as organic, right? Let's say you have organic creators, as in biologically organic, right? And then you have AI creators. I do think that there's a possibility. I don't know how quick it'll happen, but there's definitely a possibility that if you're outsourcing due to costing,
Yeah.
then yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you? You know, why wouldn't you go the free route, or at least a monthly subscription or whatever it may be? So yeah, I mean, I do think it could be a huge threat to the BPO type industry
Yeah, and
in
inadvertently
these other
actually
places.
would affect the economies of these countries that have heavy investment
Yeah,
coming from other countries, particularly for the US and
yep.
Australia. Because early on in my other company, we've experienced this. A company is an Australian one, and we've experienced sudden shift when it comes to, and this was during the pandemic, and preparation for this was even before the pandemic. Like developers are actually training AI to replace employees, and these employees are actually training the AIs to replace them.
Mm,
So, in terms of work, yeah, my belief would actually be inadvertently certain acceptance of AI in other countries would affect countries that don't see this actually as part of their culture. Like for us here in the Philippines, AI isn't actually that much used,
right.
at least from my understanding, in terms of who I interact with, in terms of who I ask regarding their responsibilities in their work, regarding what the do's and don'ts in their company is. Like the majority of them actually frown in the use of AI. But if what you say is true, that investments would actually dry up just because of the acceptance of the US, then we would
Right.
be actually affected by it, even though we don't actually partake in the culture of actually bringing it to the forefront.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So with that being said, hopefully our audience actually enjoy this episode. We don't mean to be dark and bleak, but that's the reality of life. Sometimes you have to adapt, and and we apologize. We sometimes digress, but that's what a conversation is.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for
So
joining us. Yes, Ian.
yeah. Anyway, we definitely appreciate I personally definitely appreciate this kind of conversation, and I really hope that it's not just us, not just the three of us, but also our audience. I really hope that they would also share their own sentiments regarding the stuff that we talk about, not just in this episode, but in every episode of our podcast. We definitely appreciate your comments. We'll make sure to read them as much as possible. Um, we may not agree with you, but we will definitely read them, and we would definitely understand where you're coming from. So maybe that's just my way of ending my speech here on this episode.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Once again, with that being said, thank you everyone for actually joining us in the Paper Straw podcast. We hope you enjoy this episode. Again, please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that jazz. And on behalf of my co-host, the great Christopher Short, and Ian Rignon, I'm Christian Tejaras, and we'll see you in the next.